before I lay me down, let's get this off my chest first. Excerpts of my life, I call it my next verse. I'm stressed, keep it in perspective, I'm an expert about this Northwest way of life, hey, it could end worse.
Welcome in, everyone. This is episode number 21 of UpLeft State of Mind, the podcast where it's okay to not be okay. This is the show that unpacks the pressure, the pain, and the process, from mental health struggles to finding your identity, the healing process, and even ways that we can grow as individuals. There's no filters, there's no fluff, just raw conversations with people who are learning how to hold everything. I'm your host, Rizzle, and whether you're tuned in from somewhere inside the beautiful Pacific Northwest or anywhere else, this is your safe space. It's a place to breathe, and it's a place to remember it's okay to not be okay. Quick bit of housekeeping real quick. Today's episode is brought to you by Seamless Electrical Solutions. Whether it's wiring, repairs, or full electrical work, Seamless has you covered with quality done right. As a master electrician in Massachusetts, they're committed to keeping your home and business running strong. We're honored to partner with a company that values community and believes in supporting open conversations about mental health. Learn more at seamlesselectricalsolutions.com. Let's get into it. Episode number 21. We made it. So, I'm not gonna blab a whole bunch before we bring the guest on. Usually we do the self-check. I'm going to save the self-check for afterwards. We're going to get right to it. My guest today is Michael Carini. He's an artist who proves that painting isn't just about what you see. It's about what you feel. Let's bring him on. Welcome, Michael. How are you?
A pleasure to be here. Just hearing the description of the podcast.
Sorry. Gotta get the applause in, man.
No, and I had to take that in for a second. You know, sometimes we need that little round of applause to get us through the day. But just hearing the description of the podcast, I feel I've done a couple podcasts, but that description just makes me feel like this is the place for me.
Awesome. I know we talked just the few minutes that we talked before we went live. I feel like we have a lot in common, kind of, we was similar things. So why don't you, before we get too far into it, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, tell everyone just a little bit about who you are.
My name is Michael Carini. I am a full-time artist. I'm based in San Diego. I've been chasing my dream my entire life, kind of pushing my ball uphill, so to speak. I'm a neurodivergent artist. I have Tourette's, and I also have a traumatic brain injury, several traumatic brain injuries, and mental health. The journey has been a tough one for me. I lost my father to suicide before I was a year old, and I've had my struggles my entire life. And it's an opportunity, I feel, for me to help others navigate this journey. I feel like that's really my calling and my purpose at this point in my life.
Mm-hmm. What led you to art, to painting, as your outlet, as your form of expression? Because I mean, there's thousands of things that people have found to let them, let their emotions out and channel what they feel. And what brought you to painting?
I always felt out of place in this world, and I still feel out of place in this world. But art was the one way that I felt like I could communicate and connect. It's the one thing that allowed me to make sense of the world. And it was the one thing that allowed me to connect with other people and find a bridge to come together. Because without the arts, I just know I would not be here today.
Yeah. What has your, I mean, this is a loaded question if I've ever asked one, but I ask everyone this question. What is your history with, and your experience with mental health? This being a mental health based podcast, I like to get that out of the way. I like to dig into that right away and just kind of, I deal personally for the last couple decades. I've dealt with depression, anxiety. I have panic disorder. I feel like I have PTSD from my panic attacks, and just kind of that's kind of my story, and I could go on forever about that. But what is your kind of history with mental health?
As I mentioned, I lost my father to suicide before I was a year old, but I didn't know about that until I was 28.
Oh, wow.
So I had thought that my father had passed from a car accident, but growing up, I had my struggles with depression from a very early age. And I think a lot of that ties to the neurodivergence and a number of other factors, some environmental factors as well. And through high school, I've always been someone that's just completely transparent about how I feel about things. Oftentimes it would get me in trouble because there's certain things that you're not supposed to be super honest about, even though people tell you to be honest.
Right.
And it would get me in some trouble because well, you asked me how I feel. I'm going to tell you how I feel. These are my struggles. And I feel like it was healthy for me to do that, to pull it out of myself, because I mean
Mhm.
sometimes that's what you got to do, is like if it's just killing you on the inside and rotting you, you got to pull these things out.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was doing the right thing, but I didn't necessarily have the right channels or didn't know how to talk about it, and it took me some life years to get the experience to kind of be where I am now. Not that I don't have the struggles still now. I still very much have all the same struggles, and we were talking about that before we came on.
Yeah.
But struggled with a lot of anxiety, and that was piled on by a number of the environmental factors. I had an assault and battery in 2009 that left me with a concussion then, so traumatic brain injury then. And following that, and I didn't really realize this at the time, but I was dealing with a lot of symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, night terrors. I still have night terrors like every single night. It's
Uh,
just commonplace for me. Can't sleep
Yeah.
through the night, easily startled, and a lot of symptoms tied. They kind of, it's a spectrum of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at one point I kind of just decided, okay, I have a general idea of what's going on with me, but I had to make the decision in my best interest to stop going to a doctor about certain things. And I found a path that kind of worked for me for at least a period of time. So I never wanted to discourage anybody or pill shame anybody. I just had to kind of choose the route that I felt worked best for me at
Yeah.
certain times in my life. And my route or journey may change at any given time. But I do like to feel all the things that I'm feeling, because that's the way that I can make sense of them. I need to be able to understand it. So I need to feel what I'm feeling. I don't want to numb myself, and I don't want to substitute one thing that I'm struggling with for another thing. And that's just
Right.
my personal choice for me. And I try to be honest about all the things I'm going through. And as I share all my stuff on social media through my channels, because I'm somewhat known as an artist with a following of almost a quarter million people, I talk a lot about the mental health in the work because it's a big part of the work that I do. All my work is about telling my stories. It's about my journey. It's about pulling the things out of me and putting them on the canvas so that I can help myself, but hopefully help some others along the way as well. And so I know that there's so many directions we can go in here, and I probably gave you a good amount of stuff, so I'll kind of cut myself off there.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that like I absolutely love your art, the style, the just the way that you the way that you can convey emotion into the painting. Like I was looking through some of your stuff earlier today, and it like it really like makes it's thought provoking. And I think you kind of as a person are thought provoking, and you're extremely interesting to me, and I just I love the way that you express how you feel, and I think that more people need to be more brave about it, and just do it. Like you're just meeting it at the forefront. Were you always like that, as open as you are with your art, or did that have to develop over time?
I think in a lot of ways I was, like, I can remember back in high school in being a junior, and I had an incident where I had a violent altercation at home, and I'm dealing with all these things and realizing that, hey, when I hit 18, I'm going to be on my own, and I'm dealing with all these problems at home. And we had to do a self portrait, and everybody was doing these self portraits that were somewhat realistic flesh tones and neutral faces or happy faces, and I do this super colorful rainbow spectrum of abstract colors, and it's crying. And so this is me as a young man, 17, a time where a lot of guys are trying to be macho, and I tried to do that too. Like, oh, I'm tough, like ragging on your friends and stuff and getting into fights and whatnot. But when it came to the art, it was like I would always just kind of put that in there. But kind of in line with what you were just saying, it's been something I've had to reevaluate lately, because I think that there have been times where I maybe have wanted to fit in. And when I
Mhm.
have wanted to fit in, maybe I've bent a little too much to public opinion, and I've tried to do things that I thought would have me be a little more accepted by the world. And I've come to this realization recently where I reset myself and I said, no, I need to just bear down and be true to myself,
Mhm.
and understand that not everybody is for me. Not everybody is going to understand my story. And my slogan is, don't be afraid to be different, be afraid to be the same. And I even posted something earlier, I think yesterday, on Instagram, where I said, I don't make art to kiss asses or please the masses. It's so easy to seek the validation from social media, and it's understandable. We want to be accepted, we want to be appreciated, but you have to be careful of who you're looking for the acceptance and appreciation from, because not everybody is meant to be in your circle. And it's a tough thing, even for somebody that has found themselves before. The journey to find yourself is a perpetual one. It
Mhm.
keeps going. It doesn't stop just because you think you found yourself on any given day.
Yeah, no, there's definitely evolutions and evolutions of yourself, and I think honestly, I think if we're stagnant and we're not continually finding ourselves, then I think we're doing something wrong, and we're becoming complacent, and yeah, it's couldn't agree more with that. You said something about like seeking validation from people and kind of conforming to what you feel like people want to receive as a form of art. I, as a musician, I just can relate to all of that, because I feel like there's been times where I, making music, will try to make songs that I feel like people want to hear, or like, this is what's popular right now. But my success, my true success, has always come from my roots, my comfort zone, where I feel like I am providing the most authentic version of myself. And so that's my number one goal, is just making sure that I stay authentic to myself no matter what I'm doing. And especially as, as a creator and an artist like you, it'd be um a disservice to people to put something out there that's not completely authentic, I feel like.
Yeah, because the greatest thing you can put in your art is your soul, pieces of
Mhm.
yourself. Share your authentic journey, and that helps other people to see, okay, I can share my journey. I think that one of the reasons I got into trouble was because, not that I was stopped being myself per se, but when I moved into doing the art exclusively to survive, to pay the bills, when the art market sort of slowed in the past couple years with everything going on in the economy, the money stopped coming in. And when the money stops coming in, you start to notice it. Not that I was living a life of luxury, but you need to pay certain bills. And I live in
Right.
San Diego. And so I started thinking, at least on a subconscious level, oh, what will sell? What is marketable? What do the galleries want? And I think that it got me into trouble, because it got me away from what brought me to the dance, which was just saying F you to the system and doing things my way unapologetically. And so
Mhm.
I'm really getting back to just doing things my way. And I've said, if I lose certain things on the way, they're things that are not meant to be there. And I will find the people or the things that are meant to be there. And I will find a way by doing it this way. And I picked up some part-time work teaching too, which alleviates some of that pressure and is allowing me to get back to that place,
Yeah.
my power position of, okay, I'm going to do what I want to do and tell the stories that I want to tell right now, because that's where the conviction is. That's where the passion is. That's where that little bit of extra is that
Mhm.
goes into the art that makes it extraordinary, the stuff that makes it set apart from all the other fluff and noise out there.
Yep. Do you feel like, you said that it kind of slowed down a little bit, and you noticed it, financially. Does you noticing that make you feel less value about yourself, like mentally? Like did that translate to, man, I maybe it's me. Maybe it's the art that I'm putting out that is, maybe I'm losing it, like type of a thing. Because I know I've felt that creating music as well. Like,
I hardcore question myself, and if I had lost my magic, if my best days were behind me, like I specifically look at around 2011, 2012 and say, was that the best of my years? And that, when you start to second guess yourself and question your value, because you don't know where you're going to go moving forward. You have all the potential in the world, but when you start looking in the rear view mirror at what you've done before, it can get very dangerous. That's the type of stuff that can get you into an accident, is when you're looking in that rear view mirror. But
mhm,
I have found myself there before, and I'm trying to just use that as a benchmark of, okay, you've been there before. You can get somewhere comparable, but you're not meant to be there either anymore, because different time, different place, but you have all the tools because you got yourself to the dance before. So I would say that's been my blessing, that I've had to do so much alone and I've
mhm.
had to rebuild, that I know, okay, you've done it before time and time again. You definitely have the potential to go well beyond that now because of the extra years of experience and understanding.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment and you're feeling the things, you're going through the struggle to go through, when the money's not coming in, you start to question of like, geez, did I lose it? Am I not what I was? Am I
Mhm.
not good enough? Do people not appreciate me anymore?
Yep.
And when you struggle with the mental health, that is very easy to spiral and take you into some very dangerous, dangerous places.
Yeah. I've talked a lot about self-doubt on here, and like the burden of failure, and just how those things are just, they just imprison you in into that feeling of doubt, and it's absolutely a scary thing. um People helping people in the chat, says Carini and Rizzle. What's up, gentlemen? Excited for the show. Thanks for tuning in. So what is your process like for creating a painting? This is kind of a selfish question. This one's just for me. Like, I'm just super curious about your process, and like, do you have a vision in mind before you start to paint? Are you looking inside for a specific emotion or something that you're feeling, or do you just kind of let it go? You just like start painting, and then kind of let the emotions form, or how does it work for you?
Right now, in the version that I'm in, which is getting back to that best version of me, there's definitely a thought, there's a concept,
Mhm.
but sometimes that thought or concept is that I'm stuck. I don't know where to go in life. And so sometimes what I'll do, if it's something in that thematic realm, is I'll just say, okay, well, that's the theme. And step one is we need to do something. We need to make a mark. We need to start warming up the creative muscles. And that's what I compare it to a lot of times, is when we feel stuck in a creative block, we're not feeling it mentally. Sometimes what we need to do is we need to warm up the creative muscles with something loose, like doing a little wash on a canvas, mixing some color, maybe sanding a canvas, rearranging the studio. And so it just starts with a mark, and the story can kind of develop and change as it moves forward. It's very much like a dance, and like with any dance, there's a dance partner, my painting, and I need to allow my partner to have a voice at the same time, so it's a back and forth. And sometimes the story is not going to be pretty aesthetically. Not every story has to be, but I always say that if you're honest in your storytelling, there's beauty there. So put whatever you're feeling into the canvas. When I teach my paint and sip classes, I always say this to people. I say, don't worry about making something pretty. Just put whatever you're feeling into the canvas. If it's bad feelings that you just need to get out of you, well, maybe your progress today is pulling those out so that you move on to the pretty piece the next time. But it's always just about telling that story. And so much of the work since my accident has been what I call my portals to a better place.
Mhm.
And there's this dark background with this pop of color, and even the process, there's a peeling back of layers, and it represents how, since my accident, I don't really feel like I'm part of this world. I feel like a piece of my soul has already moved on. I don't feel tethered to this world anymore, and that's something that I put into the painting, and the process is peeling back the paint and exposing the light underneath. And the concept there is that sometimes you need to peel back those layers of darkness to find the light. The light is there, but when you're in that darkness, sometimes you can't see it.
Yeah, that's man. I always sometimes I love when I find myself like actually like man, like something that someone on the show says like just hits me in the face and I'm just like, yes. Like okay, like and I like okay, cool. Like I learned a little bit right there personally. Like I love it. Can we talk about um you sent me, I don't remember exactly what it's called, what the title of it was, but it was the letter that you wrote.
Mhm.
Can we talk about that? Because that was extremely interesting when I looked into that.
Yes, so this pulls us back to what I was mentioning with my father's suicide and how it happened before I was a year old and I had
Mhm.
my struggles, but I didn't know what he was going through. So I was going through a really rough period around 2011. Uh, there was a moment where I was a fraction of a second away from not being here anymore. Uh, Luckily, I am. And in 2012, around, I want to say June or July, I had done a residency just prior to that, and I got a message of somebody that had seen one of my YouTube videos, and it said, "Hey, we're your biological family from your father's side, and we saw your YouTube video. Would it be okay if we talked to you?" And I was able to reconnect with this side of my family that I had never met, never known. And in one of the first conversations, my aunt said to me, my father's sister, "Do you know how your father passed?" And I said, "Oh, he died in a car crash." She said, "No, he shot himself." So that's when I found out. And fast forward a little bit, I spent the next 5 years working on a project that I called Rain Upon Sunrise, REGIN, and then Sunrise was SONRISE. And it was 49 meditative paintings, unlike anything I had done before. And they were very colorful and fluid, different from any of my other work. And these 49 pieces were going to be part of an installation that surrounded a piece I called Michael's Note. Now, my father's name was Michael as well. My father never left a note. And so I painted the suicide note that my father never left. But in many ways, it was like my own suicide note. And I have the blog post on my website, and people can see a couple installation shots and they can see the full note. But it was very important to me. I grew up going to Catholic school, so symbolism of Jesus, and Jesus died at 33. So I wanted to release this project. So I started working on it 2012 and
Mhm.
wanted to be released in the spring of 2017 of me being 33. So like when Jesus died and rose, like
Mhm.
the sun rising again was the thematic concept. So I worked on this project, not having a venue for it. And then as the date was coming, I was able to connect with the Expressive Arts Institute here in San Diego that focuses on art therapy, mental health.
Mhm.
And they gave me a venue for 3 months to install this project, first and second floor. And I did all these journal entries that I printed out of things that I wrote while I was creating the work too, and put them on the floor as floor graphics so that people could really get this immersive experience of the thoughts in my head, the full installation of 49 pieces of color surrounding you and all around this suicide note.
I I looked at I think there was some pictures on that link that you sent me and it's was such an incredible setup. Like so they were just like, "Hey, you can use this venue and do your thing for however long you need." And
The
that's
universe provided in that case.
that's
And funny enough, the job that I just recently took teaching, I'm teaching in the same exact hallway where I debuted that project.
that's crazy. That's yeah, that I mean stuff like that happens when you stay true to yourself and you just want to do like genuine good things, I honestly think the world like has a way of just tipping its hat to you and being like, here you go, like here's a little help for you. You need this push, like here we go, let's see what you can make out of it.
Oh, it absolutely did, because that could not have come about or transpired in a more magical and meaningful way than it did. And to have that platform, I mean, to work on something for 5 years and something that was so emotional and I thought that had so much potential to help people. I didn't want it to be something that was just up for a day or a week,
Yeah.
or to be in a group show where it was going to lose focus. So to just have it up where it was in a public area with all these other businesses that were arts related. So there were people walking up and down the stairs all the time. And some people maybe read the notes, some people didn't. Some people just walked by and just maybe said, "Oh, like I appreciate the rainbow," or "I feel this or that." It was
Yeah.
nice just to create a real experience and people could feel it any way that they wanted to feel it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of art is we give people the opportunity to just be able to take what they need from it, and just be able to provide something for people to grasp onto, to relate to learn something that they didn't know about themselves, or what does I like to ask people about a rock bottom moment, and not to relive the rock bottom moment, but just so we can briefly set the stage, so that if someone is going through the same thing or encounters the same thing sometime in the future, and they've happened to hear our conversation, that maybe we can give them the tools that they need to get through an experience or something. So is there a type of a rock bottom? I know I've had many rock bottom moments. I know people don't just have one. Is there something that you'd like to discuss that we can maybe help someone out with?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head, is that there have been more than one. There have been several times that I was just like less than a second, like a fraction of a second away from not being here. And I'm so grateful that I am, so that I could let people know that as long as you're still breathing, as long as there's breath in your body, there is still hope. You can't see that hope right now. And I've even been dealing with this lately. Like just within the past week, I was at a point again where I was like, geez, with this traumatic brain injury and the struggles I have, I'm not the person that I was. I can't make sense of life anymore. I don't see the point anymore. And I have to remind myself of what my father did. And one of the reasons that I feel that I am still here is because I feel like learning of his journey, it's something that could tilt a lot of people to be like, "Oh, well, it's in the DNA, it's in the DNA." And for me, it kind of had the opposite effect of like, no, now I have a reason to stay, if for no other reason than sheer obstinance to say fuck you to life. And it's not life that's against me, but it's just like, fuck you, I'm gonna
Yeah.
survive. I'm gonna survive.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to. There are all these reasons to give up, and there's probably people out there that want me to give up, and for that reason alone, I'm not going to. And also to show other people that, hey, it is hard, and there are a lot of days and days recently where I have thought about and I have wanted to give up, but I stay, because all you need all you need is that strength to hold on for one more second sometime. Just one more second. Just get to that next moment. And if you can make it to that next moment, maybe things will open up for you. As long as you are still here, there's the possibility that things will get better. But if you leave, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I discovered myself, and then I try to really remind people, is that you said it, the neck, just get to the next minute. A lot of people say take it day by day. I can't. Sometimes I can't even take it hour by hour. I have to just take it minute by minute and get through this minute to the next minute. And then once we get to that, and then you start to build a bit of momentum, and you can focus. I mean, like I'll be like, okay, let me get through this little episode here, and I've done this before, and you kind of start having small victories, or and you gain from it, but it is so hard sometimes to just find that will to be like, it's not going to be like this forever, because it's truly not. And it's but man, it's so dark when it is dark.
Yeah, when you're in it, it's crushing, and it feels like
Mhm.
that is everything. Like it's just an
Yeah.
eternity of blackness and abyss. But like with my portals to a better place, sometimes the layers just haven't been peeled back.
Mhm.
And sometimes you have all the right puzzle pieces to make it. The pieces just aren't in the right place. And I know that when you're in it, sometimes that doesn't sound reassuring because I know like when I'm in that mode, I'm like, I don't want to hear the fucking motivational stuff or the inspire. Like I'm like, I can't handle that right now. Like
Yeah.
I am feeling all these things right now and I just don't know how I'm gonna make, and you just have to remember just to the next moment. And when you can finally get that little breath, you hold on to that breath and just
Oh
try to
yeah.
get to the next one. But I feel for everybody that is going through it right now and they can't see that other side. I understand. And I feel like we are living in a time where, despite supposedly all these resources, I feel like life is so much more overwhelming than it used to be.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's a lot of fake stuff out there, particularly like with social media and whatnot, and projections of success that just like it just crushes people because they feel like failures because of these smoke and mirrors, Wizard of Oz illusions projected by social media. And that's why
Yeah.
when I do my stuff, I just try to be so honest with people. And so it's like on my social media looks like some days I'm talking about good stuff and other days I'm like, fuck, like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like bagging on myself and telling jokes and stuff because,
Yeah.
sometimes it gets so dark and I share that stuff so candidly on there. So, I mean, people are welcome to join me on the journey. I do a lot of writing about this stuff and I just like, I put the little poetry and I put that on the social media and I put that out there for other people, and people can judge me if they want. But that's the other thing is that when you pull it out of you and you put it out there, if anybody wants to judge you at that point, then fuck them. But just pulling it out of you might be the thing that you need to do. Just whatever your outlet is, whether that be music or if it's painting or if it's sports or if it's the gym, you got to find something that can help you get through.
Yep. Yeah, and I've talked about this recently on the show too, like about how a lot of times social media is like the top 1% of people's. Oh no, we have. Oh, there we go.
I saw. I was saying something so profound there, and I'm sure that I just disconnected completely, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, we lost you there for a minute.
Naturally, like, see, like this is one of those things where I feel like the universe is picking on me. I'm like, I'm trying to help people out here.
Yep, yep. Yeah, no, and I feel like social media is a dangerous thing because it's like the top 1% of people's life. And, I'm going to share the best times. And then other people, it's like you get pulled into judging yourself based on what you see by other people. And it's like this false measuring stick that is just, yeah, I try to remind my son and my, I try to remind people that. And it's like be authentic. And I've noticed that with some of your posts too, is like you just say what real shit, whatever you're feeling. Like if you're not feeling it, like you're gonna let us know. And it's cool. I kind of do that. I do videos on the way to work, sometimes a little short video in the morning and post it on Facebook. And I do the same thing. I just kind of tell how I'm feeling in the morning. And it just starts my day off with a bit of transparency. And like I don't know, I like it. I feel like it helps, and it helps people um, see that I am transparent with my emotions and stuff. And I try to be like maybe set an example for others to do the same thing.
Yeah, and on that note, one of the things that I've been contemplating lately is that yeah, social media can be a great benefit and it can be a tool that can help you as a business owner and somebody that's trying to grow a brand, which is something I'm trying to do. But at what cost? And
Hmm.
so I'm having to look at it and evaluate where, what, I might need to actually take a little break from social media. And I don't know how long that would be, but I've noticed I'm not lately with kind of all the things I'm juggling with my health and wellness. I haven't really been able to make as much of the art as I want to, or focus on some other things. And I want to do a little bit of reading and stuff. So I don't know. It might even be good for me to take a little break from that. But social media is
Yeah.
such a drug that once you're hooked, it is so hard to pull away from. It's perception of validation and attention, and it's a monetary source for some people, including
Yep.
myself. So it's like, can I really afford to do that mentally or financially? So
Yeah.
it's like I understand the trap that people feel that they're in.
Um, what has what has it meant to you to create art that affects other people in the way that it does?
For a long time, the art making process and my journey, I viewed it as something for me. So I don't necessarily want to say it was done from the ego, because there was a lot of good intention there. I was honest in what I was doing,
Mhm.
but I was thinking a lot of times about myself. And what I have found more recently is that I recognize that my journey is not about me. My journey is about helping others. It's about advocacy through my work. It's about opening doors for people in the art world and helping people find their voice, as someone that has struggled to find my own voice for most of my life, and at times I still lose it. So it's a blessing to be able to do that and to help people, and I want to continue growing so that I have an opportunity to help more people in the capacity that I might be able to.
Mhm. Um, do you have any other do you have any like projects or like special like projects or anything coming up that you have planned, or are you just kind of creating piece by piece right now?
Well, I always have stuff going on because I'm a somewhat established artist that's been around for a while. Like, I work
Mhm.
with probably half a dozen galleries across the country, and I have
Okay.
some sponsors and companies that I work with. Like, there's a company I was talking to yesterday that wants to send me a bunch of free paint for me to use their product, and I'm talking to the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation about being their featured artist next month for an event, perhaps being a speaker for them. I'm writing for Painting World magazine now, and I have a column in there where people can ask for guidance on the art
Mhm.
journey, and I try to be transparent there about navigating the art business, how to do that if somebody wants to do it as a hobby or they want to move it into the
Yeah.
more professional realm. So I that's one of my biggest troubles, is that I am overwhelmed because I'm always doing like 100 different things because I'm so driven. And I mean, that's a good place to be, to have opportunities. And I feel like I'm moving into a
Right.
place of getting more opportunities. But I'm going to have to get to a point of being more selective with the opportunities, particularly so that I can manage my health and wellness, which is one of the big struggles right now.
Mhm. Yeah, that balance is so difficult to find sometimes. I juggle so many different things with between my day job and 5 kids. Well, I mean, most of the kids are moved out now, but I'm still a parent and uh, a husband and the podcast and trying to work on constantly like hold myself accountable to work on my music, at least in some capacity. Uh, and I have uh, show like give back shows that I'm playing. It's just all this stuff, and I often find that I have to take like a day or something just to be like and get that deep breath and like ground myself and just get the brain to stop spinning for a second. And I mean, I don't, do you ever have days where you just have to be like, you know what, I'm not going to do this stuff today that I was going to do. I'm just going to relax and do something for myself.
I definitely have days, weeks, and longer periods of time where I feel like it's just like I need to just stop everything, especially with the struggles that I'm currently having with the traumatic brain injury. I struggle a lot of times with daily function. I
Hmm.
can sometimes, if I know something's coming up and it's later in the day, I can be articulate and I can present myself in a professional manner. But just sometimes getting a regular sentence out of me with my girlfriend at home, especially early in the day, is
Yeah.
a big challenge. So that's been a big obstacle for me. And I am a type of person that is big on accountability and is so driven that if I have a list of things that I'm supposed to get done in a day, I get those things done. But it comes at a toll sometimes. It comes at a big toll
Mhm.
because I don't know how to shut my brain off, and I don't know how to sometimes take a pause when I need to. And I know how beneficial that breath of air could be for me. But I come from a place where I feel like I'm constantly fighting for my life in all situations. And so I never feel like I can take that break, because I feel like if I take that break, the things are going to fall apart. Because I've learned over time that I used to think that somebody was going to pick me up when I needed it. I thought, oh, well, no, there's somebody that's more experienced. There's an adult. An adult's going to, I'm a kid. Somebody's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
And life taught me the hard way that nobody was coming. And then I had to pick myself up. And so it is hard when you've been through certain things in life to get away from that and to shut that part off.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, especially since the accident, and I feel like this third traumatic brain injury really kind of opened up the crack in the dam. I feel like I'm constantly in fight or flight mode. And it's a tough place to be. And that is my struggle now. That is going to be my struggle moving forward. I don't know how I'm going to manage it, but that's what I'm going through right now. I'll say that here now. That's what I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm. I that's with living with panic disorder. That's where that's where I'm at. Fight or flight. I'm always in that just get me out of here mode, and so like that's been my big thing, is finding ways to reel that back in and be able to hold on to that string, constantly. And I found that recently it's been I used to be really good at being busy and just having a plate full and all the things all the time, flying everywhere, and then over the last few years, I felt like I was not mentally as fit as I would like to be. And it kind of scared me. And so I told my wife maybe a few months ago or 6 months ago that I was going to try to overwhelm myself to the point to where if a 10 was me losing my shit and having a mental breakdown, I wanted to be at a 9 just to see if I could still handle it. And and I forgot that I said that. And then the other day I was like, man, I have so much shit going on. I feel like I'm being pulled a million different ways. I feel like I need a day or I'm gonna freak out. And she's like, oh, well, remember you said you wanted to be at a 9. And I'm like, oh, well, I think I am. But I think that is my sweet spot right now. For some reason, like I need to be going, I need to be occupied. And so I'm just going to ride that right now. And that's not always been the case for me, but
I've been at my 9 last Tuesday. I was at my 9 for sure, and there were like a
mhm.
couple other days in the past, more days than I wanted to be at a 9. And so
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to scale it back now, and I'm trying to do the things. And that's one of the things, and this applies to art. This applies to mental health. You have to take the step sometimes. It's great if you have the support system and somebody else to help you, but you may be the one that needs to take the step for yourself. And when I say the step, what does that mean? It could mean a lot of things. I don't know what that means for you, but you may need to take the baby step yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I've talked to a couple friends recently that have been going through things, and that is the one thing that I encourage people a lot, probably the most, is that it's gonna suck when you're going through it and you're at your rock bottom or you're down low and you cannot feel it. You have to pretend. You got to fake it till you make it. You have to put that fake smile on. You have to put that little bit of extra effort out, and then eventually you're going to find joy or something that's going to lift you out of that hole, but it's not going to happen on its own. And you can't expect it to just happen eventually. Like one of my songs, I talk about how happiness is a state of mind, but you have to choose to be there. And as hard as it is sometimes, like I have to tell myself, fake the smile. Like I'll walk into work some mornings and I fuck the world. I don't want to talk to anybody, you know, and then, oh, good morning, you know, and you have to put that smile on. Okay. You know,
Oh, see, I don't do that.
no. Okay. Sometimes you have to, you know, I mean, but at some point you're going to have to, like you said, you have to take that step. You have to do that little thing that's going to get you going in the right direction to where you can start to build some momentum and get yourself out of whatever you're in.
Well, and on the flip side of that too, for those of us that are used to kind of being in that fight or flight mode and used to being in the turmoil, sometimes when it seems like things are getting better, we are our worst enemies and we sabotage ourselves. And that's something that I'm guilty of as well. Because sometimes we are so fearful of things feeling good because we feel like it's fleeting and it's not going to last, that we prefer to just stay in the turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least it's a place of comfort and familiarity.
Yeah.
The discomfort is comfortable for us.
Yep. And then, yeah, and I'm scared of, for me, part of it for me, also is a fear of, I've talked about this with somebody before and he broke it down for me, but it's like a fear of success almost, because, and I don't know if it's a fear of commitment or a fear of doing good to the point where I'm going to be, committed to, doing things to a point where it's going to be too much for me and I can't handle it, you know, and like that scares me too. And so I think that's another form of self-sabotage that maybe I do to myself also, is like, maybe I don't want to do this opportunity, or maybe I'm going to miss out on this one. Just, you know, I just, like, it's not like, you know, but in reality, I'm like, I don't want that to work out for me, because I don't know what would happen. And I don't know if I can handle, you know, that extra added responsibility, or, you know, stuff like that. It's just a weird, I don't know if other people can relate to that, or.
Oh, I've had that internal conversation a lot. And I think that for me, what I've thought about is, say you open up that door, you unlock that next level. Well, now you've reached that next level and you know what that feels like.
Mhm.
One, you could potentially lose it. Two, you've seen how much work it requires to stay there, and you may not want to have to put in that work to stay there. And then the thought of falling back and regressing to past levels could be something that absolutely eats you up. Like you asked me earlier about comparison of, maybe I've lost it and was better in the past. And I think that this
Right.
very correlates with that. And so if we just never know what we could actually be, then we never have to feel the pressures of all those things that we could actually be. But by not opening that door, we never become all the things that we could actually be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, so many times I've felt that with, because I've taken breaks from my music, from the music career, for different reasons, mental health and physical health, and poor life choices that needed to be, you know, fixed, and just different things. But I always like think, man, like I always doubt, like, did I do enough while I was doing it? Or like, you know, I need to get back into it because I feel like I could be that much more great, but like, I don't know. It's scary, because what if I'm not? And what if I do come back into it and and people don't think that people are like, oh, you should have stayed, taking a break, you know, or saying, it's just, it's so scary to me too, to feel that sometimes, that it's like a validation of your self-worth through the opinion of others. And I try to tell my kids, especially, like, don't do that. Don't do that. If you base your self-value on how other people feel about you, then you're going to be disappointed in yourself every day of the week.
Well, I think that this very much correlates with the conversation of dreams and how many of us choose the safe road because we think that the safe road is safe, but you can ultimately fail on the safe road. And even if you succeed on the safe road, it's not what you really wanted. So that success is ultimately a failure. But if you go after
Mm.
your dream and everything that you ever wanted, if you fall short, at least you know. So even in falling short, there's still success there. But a lot of us are just too scared to learn what we're actually capable of. And I know
Mhm.
that it's something that I've struggled with. And I know that I've fallen way short of what I'm capable of because of past decisions and poor choices. But I'm here right now. And as we also alluded to earlier, there's still breath in my body. So there is still potential for me to open new doors, and we'll just have to see what I can do with what I have and the time that I have left from here. And it's
Mm-hmm.
ultimately up to me if I want to go open those doors and become all that I can be, or fall short. But if I fall short, ultimately it's because I am choosing not to.
Well, and you have to go into it also with the thought that you deserve to be there. Because a lot of times I struggle with that, feeling like I don't deserve to be there.
Oh
And
yeah.
man, that just eats you away. And then it brings you doubt once you do start accomplishing things. You're like, oh, is this really happening? Like I've had to really battle with that lately because I've been doing a lot of like the podcast and like I'm getting all this positive feedback, but it's like it's hard for me to accept it, I guess, because I just I don't have that faith in myself that I'm deserving of it, I guess. I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
don't either. I actually
Yeah.
did a reel on Instagram, I think a week or two ago, that people could go find right now, where I talk about how I had a weekend where I sold a couple paintings, and afterwards I was really happy, and I was feeling good about myself, but I was also questioning whether or not I deserved it. And what I ultimately got to was that even though I may have felt like I didn't deserve it in the moment, I did deserve it because of the decades of work I have put into getting to where I am. So
Mhm.
it's okay if you feel like you don't deserve certain things. Sometimes it's just being humble, but don't let it stop you from moving forward and
Right.
getting those things. And you can ultimately choose to do good things with the things that come to you and to open the doors for others. And you're doing no wrong there.
Mhm. Um, I like to we talked about the rock bottom. We talked about some tough times and stuff. I like to bring it full circle a bit too and talk about people's triumphs, one of their proudest moments. Is there one proud moment that sticks out to you the most of yours that maybe has had the most effect on you mentally, on your mental health, your mental well-being?
I would just say the fact that I've been able to reach, so I wouldn't say it's one specific incident, but just that I've been able to reach people. And one of the things that I shared earlier today was a post where I was talking about the symbol on my arm, Acrylic
Mhm.
Alchemy, and that was birthed from an assault and battery. And it was about sharing my journey and how you can transmute your darkness into light. And if you can turn your pain to purpose and find light from your darkness, you can take away the power it holds over you. And I have had people tattoo this symbol on them. So just the fact that I've been able to help people, the people have told me that I've been able to help them through difficult times, uh, I would say that like that makes all the struggle worthwhile. The struggle
Mhm.
still hurts in the moment,
Yeah.
but it shows me that I'm actually doing something meaningful with it.
Mhm.
And that's important to me, that I'm doing
Yeah.
something meaningful with it, because it's so easy to get lost in the ego, and it's about me, and it's about prestige, and it's about the likes, and it's about the shares, and it's about the money. And it's so easy to get lost in that, especially if you start to get a little like those things feel good. And it's
Yeah.
okay if
Right.
those things feel good, but it is so easy to get lost in there. And I just want to bring it back to it being about something bigger than that.
Yeah. Well, and I've talked before about my music being I use I'm very vulnerable in my music, and I use my lyrics to be vulnerable and to try to just show people that we can express how we feel openly, and it's okay to just put it out there. And I've talked about how a lot of, I mean, I make rap music, and a lot of rap music is like party music and make you feel good and this and that, and I've never really made music like that. My music is more, it's gonna relate very much to a very small uh crowd. If my music, it can mean a lot, it can mean a little bit to a lot of people, or it's gonna mean a whole lot to like a very small select few, and I'm totally cool with that, because
It's a good place to
that's,
be.
yeah, and as long as I can help one person, or have one person relate or hit me up, and they, this song really like helped me get through this tough time, or, I really appreciate your vulnerability on this song and the way that you like, that's what it's all about for me. And so that's really the bones of it for me, I guess, like just relating to people, even if it's only one person. So yeah. Let's see here. What do you advocate for? We advocate for mental health here. Is there one specific thing that you advocate for?
I'm big on the mental health, and I'm big
Mhm,
on helping people find their voice, whatever that may be.
mhm,
Um, there's so many people divided right now, and I feel like art is a bridge that can bring people together and connect them at a time that there's all this divide. So I don't stand on this side or that side. I stand on the right of goodness and hope and helping people find themselves.
mhm.
And I just want people to be happy and find that happiness, because I know that all the times that I'm angry and frustrated and mean to people and want to get into fights or lash out, it's because of my own insecurities, and it's because of things inside of me. And the world's not going to heal until people heal themselves internally. That's the problem. That's where it's got to start. But what I'm seeing out in the world, those are not things that are going to heal people. And I feel like art
Yeah.
really can. And so I'm going to continue just trying to share the stories and to speak out on the platforms that are given to me. And I feel like I have been blessed, kind of like with the Expressive Arts Institute. I feel like I have been blessed with a number of opportunities to do podcasts recently and to share the stories. So maybe the universe is recognizing something and giving me the platform for that reason, to kind of shift things around, because
Mhm.
God knows that the world needs it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole lot of finger pointing and negativity out there, but I think everyone just kind of needs to take a look inside for a little bit, and we'll be in a much better place going forward. Um, do you have what do you got going on? What do you got coming up as far as different things? You said you got your hands in all kinds of stuff. Is there anything coming up in the next month or two that's like you need to announce, or you want to plug some stuff, or
I'm really kind of pivoting, and I'm shuffling the deck again. I'm trying to figure out what works for me that I've been doing, and
Mhm,
I'm making a lot of big changes, or at least what I would call big changes for me. I'm getting back to doing a lot of stuff myself. I still work with a couple galleries, but I recognize that I am my brand, and that the best way to have connections is to actually have connections. And sometimes when there's too many middlemen and you're trying to worry about contracts and stuff too much, it gets really convoluted. And so sometimes you just got to simplify things and dumb them down. Like, not everything needs to be super complex.
mhm.
So I'm just getting back to trying to make some bigger quality pieces. I'm actually slowing down my production process. So as I'm going back and I'm teaching more, it's giving me an opportunity to be an advocate in these classes. Like, I'm advocating for mental health in these paint and sip classes where people are drinking. So they didn't know that they were going to come in and get the mental health side of things, but
Yeah.
I throw it at them in all of my classes. So I'm excited to do that and kind of see where that goes. And I've got a couple canvases and a couple panels, some larger ones than what I've done in a while. And my plan is to just really dive into the stories and to take my time with them. Because for
Mhm.
too long, I was worried about creating work in sets and making work that was small and affordable and presentable for galleries. And it was friendly color schemes that were more marketable, and like I was
Yeah.
still being myself within them, but I was like making little tweaks and things that like were the thing that made go from like being like, oh, this is special, to it's special, but and I want to get
Yeah.
back to like, oh no, this is special and this guy just doesn't give an f. And you know what, when you just stop caring what people think,
Mhm.
that's when people start caring.
Yeah. Yep. Um, it's funny that we just, you talked about stop caring what people think, but do you ever have paintings that or pieces that you are not happy with, and that you just like, nope, this one's not going out, like this one I'm painting over this one, or I'm throwing this one away, or
Generally, when I finish a piece, I'm not happy with anything. And the reason being is that I'm too close to it. A lot of times, what we need, and I share this in my classes, is we need perspective. We need a distance from things.
Mhm,
If we've been giving all this energy to something, we have these high expectations, we're putting our all into it, we're too close to it. We need a level of separation. And I'm learning to give myself more of that separation. And I've also learned over time that not every piece in my eyes is going to be my best work. However, like I said earlier, as long as you're honest in your storytelling, there's beauty there. So if you're struggling and the painting looks like you don't know what you're doing, you're pretty accurately capturing that feeling of struggle.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why I tell people, don't worry about the aesthetics of it. Put the feeling in there, and there will probably be somebody that relates to it or connects with it. So I've learned over time that no matter what, I finish the piece. If the story is done being told, the story is done being told. You don't paint over it. You move on to another story. You just put it out there, and there's someone that may connect with that story. There have been plenty of times where I finish something and I'm like, that's not my best work. I don't know how I feel about this. And somebody else would be like, I want that. That's the one I need. I connect with that.
yeah,
It's a powerful thing too. It's like, okay, it teaches you like, okay, we really are at different places at different times, but there is connection to be
hmm,
made.
yeah. I go through that with songs that I create too. People end up liking some of the songs the most of mine that I cannot stand. And it's like, and I don't know why, because I created that song and I liked it enough then to put it out, but it's something just changed in me, and I just feel a different way about it. But they still relate to that moment that I was in then when I created it. So I just gotta accept that, and
Well, yeah, and the
just
journey continues. So at
yeah,
some point, you may come back and circle around on your journey or double back around, and you may be like, you know what? Okay, today I'm feeling that. Like today, I'm feeling that flow. So we feel different things at different times. We're a spectrum of emotions and feelings. We're not one thing all the time.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing I think that has made me relate the most to you and your work, is just how connected you are to your emotions, and um it's such a beautiful thing. I have so much respect for you and for what you do. Is there anything else that you want to leave the people before we get you out of here?
I mean, I just love having these conversations. Like, I like having real conversations.
Hmm.
So, I mean, people can find me on my link tree or on my site at cariniarts.com. But I mean, with whatever time we have left, I'm happy to cover whatever you feel we haven't covered or something that you feel that we could leave people with that would be
um
help.
Man, how let's see, there's a couple different things I can how can we encourage people to find their expressive outlet? Like, how, in your eyes, like, what can people do to try to find what works for them?
You have to take that first step, like I mentioned earlier. You kind of just
Mhm.
got to start doing things. But if you shut out all the outside noise of what your parents are telling you, what your friends are telling you, what your significant other's telling you, you probably have a good idea of what makes you feel good, what makes you feel like life is worth living, and lean into that a little bit. Find what works for you, experiment, try lots of different things. Like even when it comes to art, I always tell people try as many things as you can at first. Figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. Both of those things are important. And make it your own. You can go with some modified version of any one of these things, but
Yep.
art is a wonderful outlet for people. I think even if you're somebody that is like, oh, I'm never going to be a professional artist, like I could barely draw a stick figure. You don't have to be able to draw a stick figure. Go put those emotions on a canvas, on a piece of paper. Like maybe it can benefit you, and maybe the art can help open you up to what this thing is that you want to do, that
Mhm.
may not be art related at all, or it may be art related.
Yeah. Um, have you ever, surprised yourself with a piece where it brought something out of you, that you didn't expect to find, or you related to a piece when it was done that you didn't think it would be like that to you?
I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, a lot. In fact, when I'm in my mode, like I've been in lately, when I finish a piece, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go for like a run. And
Mhm.
during that run, like it will be so emotional to think about like what I just got out of me. And sometimes that piece won't be well received, but you know what? It's just about me pulling stuff out of me. It's just about pulling out the pain. It's about pulling out the hurt so that I can make room for something beautiful and healthy to grow there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that I'm there. I am not there, but it's a continual process, and I'm working on it. And that's all I can do.
Have you ever found that like therapy or anything like that is helpful for you? Some people don't like talking to other people in that sort of an environment, but I know it's been helpful for me. So
I did it particularly as a kid. I had to do it. And it was not for me. I'm not going to say that if I found the right person now, it wouldn't be good for me.
mhm.
But what it comes down to is you have to find somebody that you feel comfortable communicating with.
Yeah.
I have a great deal of difficulty because of all the stuff in my head connecting with people.
Mhm.
And I have a great deal of difficulty trusting people. And when I think about, okay, I'm talking to somebody that I'm paying, if I wasn't paying them, would they talk to me? And that right there plants something in my head that makes it very difficult for me to move beyond that barrier. And so I have found for me that my journey involves me going about it on my own, but trying to be educated and informative about it. Like I've done the therapy in the past. So
Yeah.
I at least have a good idea of what's going to be said or the conversations that are going to be had. And to feel all the things, to not take medication unless it's dire emergency, and to navigate it through the art channel. And I find that that is the course of prescription that is the best course for me personally.
Yeah. Um, that's so it's really encouraging to know that. I mean, because I have to take a pill every day, but just to know, just for you to be able to be proof that not everyone, that everyone's different. And because someone might come on here and they hear my story and hear that with the things that I go through, and that I have to take a pill at my antidepressant every day to even function. And so it's encouraging to hear it from someone else's story or someone else's side of the story,
And
because
there was a period that I
there
did,
are
though.
two sides of the coin,
Yeah.
for sure.
And there was a period that I did, and there was a
Hmm.
period that I took anxiety medication. So, I probably or might not be here if I had not gone through that period where I did. I just had to, at some point, make a decision of, okay, are you really feeling yourself and able to feel all the things that you are going through right now?
Hmm.
Or, so it's like choosing when is the right time or what the course of action is that's best for you at any given moment on the journey.
Yeah, and I feel that I've heard that exact reason why people choose not to take them is because they like it helps them, but they want to feel, they want to feel all the stuff. They want to feel the bad stuff, they want to feel the good stuff. And I think that there is something to that. If you can withstand the negative times and the difficult times to make it through to the good ones on your own, that it'll build that much more trust in yourself, I suppose,
And
to
I
get
also know
through
I
that.
have a really dependent personality. So
Mhm.
I know that if something starts to feel too good, I might have a tendency to abuse it, which is why, particularly with the anti anxiety medication, it was just best for me to just say, you know what, I need to just call this quits and just learn other techniques and strategies for managing the anxiety once I got beyond the point that it was really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in points before where I've had to have like a I mean, not Xan. I never had a prescription for Xanax, but I mean lorazepam or Ativan or whatever is that one of the levels down. It's not a benzo or anything, but same type of deal. I'm having a panic attack. Take that thing. There was points in my life where I couldn't even go to the store to get something to drink without having that pill in my pocket just in case, and so that was a huge thing for me, was just to be able to graduate from that to I'm good. I can leave that at home now. And, you know, so like there's different phases that I've gone through for sure, and different dependency levels on things and stuff. But I think I'm in a pretty good spot right now.
And Xanax was one of the ones that I was on for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a scary drug for sure. I mean, it ruins lives, but it also, you know, is extremely helpful to people. So it just depends. I had trouble sleeping for a long, well, still for my life, you know, I have difficulty sleeping, and I got really dependent on Ambien for a while. And I bring that up because one of the side effects of Ambien is a false sense of well-being. And for someone that lives in that fight or flight mode, man, that was such an escape for me. That little bit of window before bedtime when I would take my prescribed Ambien, you know, and then it started to be not such a, it's like, okay, I can, you know, 4 more hours until bedtime till I can take my Ambien and get that feeling of well-being, you know, and so I really had to recognize that was becoming an issue. And so now I just don't sleep well at night, but I'd rather do that than be, you know, waiting. And then it was like, oh, well, I can, this sleeping pill will work better on me if I don't eat for an hour before I take it at night. And then if I stay up, then I'll enjoy that false sense of well-being for longer, and, you know, making these excuses for myself. But no,
Yeah.
you know, medication's it's a dangerous thing for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a for-profit, like, not to say it doesn't help, because it can absolutely help and be beneficial at times, but it is definitely a for-profit business too.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things I have to remind myself of, is that these businesses profit from keeping people sick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have to find out, like, okay, are we actually sick? And then from the time that we find out if we're sick, are we actually healing, or are we just putting a band-aid on stuff? And
Yeah.
I just said, you know what, I want to actually try to heal. Have I actually
Mhm.
healed? Probably not, but I'm trying. I'm trying to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I feel like I feel like I would love to have you on again and have another conversation.
Yeah.
Talk about a lot more. I feel like we like I said at the beginning, we kind of have some of the same views and opinions and things about mental health in common. And it was really a pleasure having you on. Can you tell everyone like where they can find you, where they can find your stuff and follow you at? And
My website is cariniarts.com. That's CARINI arts.com. My link tree is on there too. You can find me everywhere. But if you just look up Michael Carini or Carini Arts, you'll find me on pretty much everything. I'm always doing a bunch of stuff. There's a billion things out there on me. Some of them somewhat embarrassing, but hey, you know, I just put it out there, and it is what it is, and I move on with life. So
yep. Well, I mean, you created it for a reason, so put it out there and you know, accept the repercussions of it. That's kind of how I feel
yeah.
about music. You know, you just on to the next. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're waiting for perfection, you're never gonna do anything, and that's why I'm like, you know
no.
what? Just keep doing stuff. Just keep doing stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's more about repetition and about the journey, I feel like, than, you know, I mean, we all have an end goal in sight, but we're not gonna, when we get there, we're not gonna appreciate the end goal. We're gonna appreciate the journey that got us there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. I really enjoyed the conversation. And hopefully we can have you on again.
Yeah, I'm down, because I feel like we just like, whenever we get on these things, I feel like we talk for like 2 minutes, even though obviously I know it's much longer than 2 minutes. But it feels like we just scratched the surface, and there's so much more to dive into.
Yeah, I know. That's the funny thing about, I get that a lot after like an hour or an hour and 15 or whatever, you know, of talking. And that's what I love about doing this podcast is I am an introvert. I don't like conversation. I don't like, naturally,
I'm the same.
I don't like conversation. I don't like talking to people. Like, small talk drives me crazy, you
Yep.
know, but doing this podcast, I get done and then I'm like, man, I go to my wife and I'm like, I fucking love this. I love this. I love talking to people. I love hearing what makes people tick. And I don't know if it's because I've experienced mental health problems for my whole life. And so this is like what I enjoy. And like, I really enjoy digging in and asking people the questions that they don't get asked every day, you know? And
That's the good stuff.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would love to have you back again, man. It would be an honor.
I'm in.
Cool. We'll get that worked out. If you guys want to give him a follow, go check out his website and just enjoy some of his art. Go and show him some love. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on, man, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, take care. Later. All right. That was a great conversation. I just want to encourage everyone to go over and check out his website and check out his art. Let's do a self check now. I have a lot to talk about on my self check. We've been having some rough times for a week or two, and you know, I really feel like the tide is starting to turn a bit. I'm getting some positive energy thrown my way. You know, we had some difficult times with just different things. And, you know, I got some news about the venue for my toy drive in McMinnville, and the venue, they're donating the venue. They're sponsoring and donating the venue for the toy drive. So that's like, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that at all. And then we're like somebody's coming, Elise Stevens and Mimas is coming to feed people. That we don't have to worry about food. We don't have to worry about the venue. We don't have to worry. Like I got everything lined up. People are starting to contribute to the movement. You know, we've been gaining some traction and it's really starting to make a difference. The McMinnville Fire Department's on board with the give back, with the toy drive, donating all the toys to them. And, you know, I needed a bit of good news and I got it. You know, I wasn't even going to do the toy drive. I wasn't even going to do the damn thing. It was out the door. The idea was, you know, the venue had emailed me. I talked to him a bit, you know, super nice guy. And I just was like, man, I don't think that I have the financial means to do this. I don't have, like, I accomplished so much on my other give back, but it was so exhausting. I had 2 months from the start of it until the event, and I had to raise a stupid amount of money to pay for the venue. And I had to hit the streets and talk to businesses and get people on board to donate money so that we could have this venue to use for our charity show. And like, that's not what it's about. It's not about, my job shouldn't have been trying to, like, I'm just glad I don't have to go through that again, because that's not what it's about. All that money could have been used to get school supplies, really. So, you know, I'm happy that 100% of the resources that we're going to get can go towards the toy drive, and the show's going to be free. People don't have to pay to come to the give back show, because that's not what it's about either. I don't want people to have to pay to come to a charity show. That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, these are things that I feel extremely strong about, and I'm that's how I'm doing things. So I'm glad that things are working out the way that they need to work out, because I was almost gonna just not do the show. And then the dude, he emailed me again and was like, hey, what dates do you like, because I was kind of like, just, it's not gonna happen, what dates is it like? He was persistent, and I was like, all right, here's my idea, blah blah blah. And he's like, you know what, consider it a gift, fucking. And I was like, bro, yes. I almost cried. I called my wife. I was freaking out. Yeah. And then we got hooked up with the Mimas, with the food, and they're gonna come and do some food for the event. And I couldn't be happier. DJ Webbs is gonna come through with some sound, with some sound equipment. And everyone is just super gracious. Everyone's on board with the movement, and I'm seeing the results. You throw the pebble in the water, and then you wait to see what happens. And I really feel like I'm starting to see the waves. And so I'm just gonna keep on riding it and see what happens. Everyone that's contributing, man, I owe everything to, because it's hard to get people to do stuff, just for the fucking sake of it being a good thing to do. That's what I'm finding out. It's easy to do stuff, for yourself. It's easy to do stuff to make money. It's easy to do stuff for the popular reason, but it's difficult sometimes to do shit for the right reasons. And it doesn't always give you a nice easy paved path to travel to get there. It doesn't always give you help. There's not always people cheering at the finish line for you when you get there. But that's where the character comes in. That's where the determination and the grit and the resilience and the perseverance, all of that shit that we try to build over time and keep in us as we go through these hard things, like that's where all that shit comes into play. And so I'm not getting any younger, man. I'm 40, so I'm going. It's go time right now for me. That's what I was talking about with Michael, how I told my wife I was gonna try to overwhelm myself to the point of damn near having a breakdown, but not quite, just to see if I can still handle it. And I'm at a 9 out of 10 right now, but I'm cruising. So we're just gonna keep on going, and that's all I got to say about that, really. We're just riding it right now, so we're making shit happen. I'm happy. I couldn't be happier. Creative juices are flowing. The positive energy is radiating. I can't lie, I still have tough days. I've had just the last couple of days have been so good. I'm gonna take advantage of the feeling and try to get as far as I can with it. Yeah, it's been a kind of a quiet one tonight. I appreciate you guys being here. This will be up on Spotify tomorrow. Getting them reps in. We made it 21 episodes, and I am just I'm pleased with where we're going. So let's see here. What do we got next, man? We have Jeff Harper from My Team Studios. He will be on the episode, or be on the podcast this weekend on Saturday, episode number 22. We also have next week on Tuesday, we have Eleanor Ryan, comedian. She's going to be on the show. make sure you guys tune in for that. She's fucking hilarious. I can't wait for that conversation. That's gonna be great. So you guys need to tune in for that one because I have a feeling that's gonna be a juicy one for sure. Let's see here. 2 weeks until the Dizzy Wright show. You guys need tickets for Dizzy Wright in Albany? Hit me up. I'm hosting that thing. 2 weeks until that show. Shouts out to Poverty's poster boy for letting me host that joint. It's gonna be a fucking banger. Pint and Stevie Stone is November 1st. Hit me up for tickets to that too. I got cheap ass tickets to that shit. That's gonna be a fucking movie. That's a birthday bash for Pint. It's a Project Pint 2K25 Stevie Stone album release. Shit, we got all kinds. It's costume contest, $100 costume contest. It's the day after Halloween, so you guys all have your costumes. There's no excuses, so make sure you guys come out to that as well. I got new music coming. Couple songs coming very soon. Working on just getting some finishing touches on some stuff before I put it out. And that is about it. Thank you if you guys are still here. I appreciate you being here. If you're not here now, but you listen to it later, make sure that you come and say what's up during one of the live episodes and be active in the chat. Like I said, it was a quiet one tonight. It's not always that quiet. You guys made me work for it tonight for sure. But any support is welcome support, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. If this episode resonated with you at all, please share it with a friend. Everyone needs to hear something. We just might be the place to say it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. Tell somebody you love them, and we will see you guys next time.
But before I lay me down, let's get this off my chest first. Excerpt of my life, I call it my next verse. Some stress, keep it in perspective. I'm an expert about this Northwest way of